I like how I started right as there's a plane. All right, Nick Foley. So this is, I think, episode 6, maybe 7. Honestly, I lost count of the Free Parking Podcast. Honestly, you're my most requested guest. So today I have Nicholas Foley. Wide a range of nicknames we could give him. A lot of different personas for this fella right here.
I have dozens of people call me dozens of different things. So,
what's your preferred name?
I like Nick.
Just Nick?
You know, my government given name. But
so, can I put Nick Foley or Nicholas Foley in the title?
I think either works, to be honest.
Nick Foley?
Yeah, I'm cool with either.
Nice. And yeah, so I mean, we've been friends for a very long time now, and we've been through a lot of crazy stuff, but I've been doing this podcast now for a little while. Took a break. But now I'm bringing it back, and I definitely wanted to have you on early on here. So yeah, I'm glad to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I think I've been in a lot of your recording projects since you've started, from camera work to audio. So, I mean, it was going to be a given that I would be on here at some point.
I agree. So how was the flight?
A little jet lag. You know how airports can be during holidays.
I feel that. Mm-hmm. So I guess let's just kick things off. I got a couple of conversation starters. We may go into some stories. We may just talk about random nonsense. So let's just go into it.
I mean, that was my idea. You know, we were going to just sit down and shoot the shit.
Sounds good. Just a normal talk between us.
Yeah.
Well, let's just start off with like how you view. Are you a religious person?
No, but I think people who have views that are religious are respectable. I feel like I should follow up by saying that. Normally when they hear that you're not religious, they think that you pay no mind to the, opposing view whatsoever. But I have a lot of respect for religious people, especially if they're, well-versed in their beliefs.
Interesting. So it sounds to me like... would you call yourself an atheist?
I think it'd be fair if someone called me that.
Would you prefer atheist or agnostic?
That's a tough one, because I've had people go into semantics about it. So I don't know. I guess what someone prescribes to what they think those are, I'm fine with either.
Yeah, I guess like the terminology is kind of pointless, but I guess the idea is, do you believe that there is no God, or are you just unsure?
I have more, it feels more likely to me that there isn't one.
I see.
But that's why what I meant when I said it's kind of semantical, because if you say something like, yeah, I believe there is none, then someone can say, oh, well, how are you sure? Mm-hmm. But, belief is kind of fickle like that. No one's sure about anything.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are sure of things, even when they're wrong. And I think that, like, I had this conversation on the last podcast where I was saying, I feel like too many people think they know things and are sure of things, when in reality they should probably take a step back and observe other viewpoints and try to build a stronger foundation. Because I think the more that you think about things and the more that you dig deeper into reality, the less that you believe you actually know things. Mm-hmm. But that is entirely my opinion, and I'm not trying to say that just because you're fickle and you have no belief in anything per se, that you're smarter. It just means that from my experience, the more that I know, the less I know, if that makes sense. But yeah, the reason why I asked was because I'm curious to know because there's a lot of arguments on religion. And I think as we're moving into more modern times where we're relying on things like technology and we have more access to information, less people are religious now than, say, 50 years ago, for example. I think that a lot of the reason why people used religion in the past was to create a form of structure that people could follow, that would have a result that would be something they could predict. In other words, like, let's say you have a family and you raise them on the rules of the Christian religion in the United States. It's much more likely that they're going to have a certain set of morals and they're going to behave a certain way, much more likely, not necessarily true. But it's a structure that you can kind of manipulate, if you will, how people act. And it goes really far up to, it's not just at the family level, it goes to the government level, it goes even above that. And it ends up causing a lot of wars. But if you strip all of that away, in essence, all that's left is like the idea of where did we come from? And that's kind of what I'm more interested in. I'm not necessarily interested in talking about the politics of religion. More so, what is your philosophy on how we are here today?
I do at least want to touch on a little bit of what you said. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of different people on this. And one of them is a professor. He's very thoroughly well-versed in biblical writings and stories of all sorts. And one of the conversations that we like to commonly have is that religion was a very good moral foundation that happened. We don't know what could have been a different moral foundation, but it is the one that we got, and it did kind of culturally change history since that point in time when it became popular. And the reason why I want to start with that is how religion is now reflected today, especially with the advancement of technology and our understanding of, things around us. The big question of where we did come from will come into question very often, especially when our viewpoints are going to be broadened way beyond just our galaxy, our universe, or if we happen to find out there's more than just one universe, it's going to always pop up, and it's going to get into the other aspects of religion too. I think it will be a tricky one because we are speaking of something that's beyond the observable. The idea does bring a type of assurance to whoever happens to hold those beliefs, and it does add on to the core of their moral philosophy. Where we came from will be a difficult discussion down the line. I'm not sure it's something that we'll be able to answer in this lifetime or our kids, but the cultural impact is probably a lot more important and something to consider.
I see. Yeah, I think the reason why, I guess let me put it this way. Obviously, we'll never know. Well, maybe we will. I'm not going to say, it's completely out of the question, but it's very unlikely that within our lifetimes we're going to know the origins of reality. That's like the question, right? And so a lot of people are left to speculate. Yeah. And a lot of people have a lot of different viewpoints on this. Some think that the universe always existed, and that there, is an all-knowing being that created us. There are some people who believe the universe sprung into existence, and we are essentially the effect of that. And then there's a lot of other beliefs as well. But in the end, I'm sure you have some sort of intuitive feeling as to what is most likely, right?
Yeah.
And could you talk on that?
I could speak in it probably best in a vague sense.
Yeah, that works.
Through all the examples that you gave, or while we're talking about the speculations, normally it's always like contributed to a force which made everything. And I think a lot of people want to humanize it. They want to actually give it some kind of personification, whether that is very specific or deific, something way more advanced that can be the human understanding. I think, personally to me, that it makes a lot more sense that it's some form of a natural force, that it doesn't necessarily have to have a consciousness or personality.
Let me ask you this, because this is where the debate gets spicy and interesting now. Because now I feel like you've laid down how you feel, essentially, and it's relatively, I think where most, I would say, scientists that I know of kind of, that's where their beliefs lie, is essentially, Big Bang, and then it was natural forces that led to the creation of the planets and all of that, stardust, etc. What created that force? Like, okay, so there's always going to be that question of like, what was before that? And what was before that? What caused this? If it's just a chain reaction, that means that from your perspective, it was an infinite chain. There was never anything that started that domino effect. Mm-hmm. It was just always there. And we know that that's not true in the case of the universe scientifically, because we know that there was a Big Bang, or at least we're pretty darn sure. Because you can take all of the, how universe is expanding, you can take the direction that it's expanding and then mathematically reverse that and find out that it came from a particular point. And so the Big Bang means that our universe had a beginning, which implies that either one of two things is true. Either one, we sprouted out of nothingness, or two, we sprouted out of a multiverse. So obviously this is way out of our leagues. Neither of us are PhD scientists or anything like that, but it's just fun to speculate. What do you think? Do you think we sprouted out of absolute nothingness, or?
I think regardless of anyone's belief, they're going to come across that contradiction. What was the first?
Mm-hmm. Like, who created God?
Yeah, and then before that, like, okay, well, who was the who? Mm-hmm. And I think that's just our lack of understanding exactly the vast amount of nothingness. I think we have a very human understanding of nothing, and we don't even think of it as a force within itself. How it applies to the laws of polarity, what nothing even implies. Even metaphors that I've heard when they try to describe it like a blank piece of paper, that is still something. It is still paper, and it represents, even if it's absence. Absence is a concept.
Right. I mean, the concept of void itself is really hard to wrap your head around. I've spent some time thinking about it in the past, just kind of mind experiments or thought experiments. Like, what exactly can you perceive nothingness? Obviously not, because perceiving something is not nothing, right? And so the idea of, something sprouting out of nothingness is almost impossible to actually imagine.
It's also kind of difficult to speculate what even is beginning. We always have a view of something being finite, the start to the end. We also try to, go beyond that. We don't even know if the universe has just always been as well.
Exactly. And that's where things like theology start to actually make sense from a logical perspective. I say theology, I mean like the idea of there being a creator. For example, like if there always was existence and something had to kickstart that, well, whatever that is could be called God. But it doesn't have to be like a guy with a giant beard.
Yeah.
It could totally be like literally essence itself. But then it would have had to have had some sort of reasoning or consciousness to get that thing rolling, right?
Maybe. That's why I was saying that I do give a lot of respect for people who, do have those beliefs. Mm-hmm. I've had, bad arguments thrown my way, especially if it's in malicious intent from having opposing views. But I've also had people introduce very, very intriguing lines of thinking when we're talking about this conversation. Usually when there is a mutual form of not only respect, but admiration from the school of thought trying to come to this conclusion and speculation, we start getting to the important conversations of why we even have these beliefs.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to try and avoid that a little bit right now, because I wanted to get more into like the hypothetical, philosophical side of it, just to see your thought process around it, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, obviously I personally would consider you a person who is logical, who thinks logically.
I appreciate that. If I was illogical, that would kind of make this difficult.
I mean, I know a lot of people who aren't.
I'd say more. It's probably, if we're talking ratio,
and
more them.
And you know what's sad is I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like in the United States it's more likely that you're going to run into people who are illogical. And I only say the United States because that's where I live and I've never been outside of the United States. It could be totally the same in every other country, but as a reference point, I live in the United States, and most people I meet, I feel like, are less logic based and are more emotional or intuitive based in their reasoning and thinking, which is absolutely fine too. I think that I need to probably balance that out more myself. I'm way more logical than I am emotional, and that's probably not healthy.
I do have regular connections to people that live all around the world. At least maybe once a week I speak to somebody that lives in Hong Kong. I've had people who regularly go to Portugal. I know someone that lives in Japan. And I find it funny because they all have the same opinion, where they're not quick to speak about anything beyond their country, but they're like, man, I fucking hate running into these people. They're so stupid. And
so that's not an American thing. Mm-mm. Thank you. No, it's fine. I just think that, like, there's so many different ways of going about your life. But when it comes to decision making, striking a balance between the two is pretty important. And I feel like a lot of the decisions that, I guess, I don't want to go too far into that just because it could come off as arrogant, and I don't feel like I am. I have a lot of flaws myself as well.
Yeah, no.
So I don't want to sit here and say, like, oh, people are not logical. Like I said, I tend to use logic more than I use emotion, and that can come off negatively as well.
I get that, but it sounds like more that you're trying to say that a person who has assurance, mm-hmm. you know, when they don't need to feel, how's the best way to put it? Like they have to think too deeply mm-hmm. on just themselves in general. Mm-hmm. You know, that branches out into a bunch of other qualities like confidence or anything else.
Nice.
Instead of, you know, like a radical skeptic.
Radical anything is annoying to me.
Yeah.
I mean, literally radical anything just makes me cringe.
Well, a radical skeptic, I mean, they wouldn't even have a belief. They're a militant fence sitter.
They would say they have beliefs, but then they would play devil's advocate on their own beliefs.
I think they would be like, well, what does it mean for me to, like, have beliefs? Because are either of us sure about
that's pretty far on the radical side, yeah, to that point. But I know people a little bit less so, myself included, who like to just argue for the sake of arguing.
I would like if we got to the point where we would start killing people for having opinions. That radical.
Any opinion at all?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, if you have belief.
If you have any belief whatsoever, you do not belong.
Yeah, like this is opinion right now, so I would be as well.
But. Yeah, that sucks. That's clever. I like that. So, you know, with that segue, it kind of makes me want to talk about, because usually the people that I have on this podcast, they're either some sort of artist, some sort of musician, or someone that has like crazy things that have happened in their lives that they want to talk about. It's not always the case, but that's usually it. You're an interesting case,
yeah,
right? Because you have stories and everything. But your main thing isn't that. It's more like your ability to entertain in conversation.
This isn't something that I attribute to myself. This is something that people have told me. But I get it mentioned that they find it very funny how whenever I meet somebody, you know, even if I don't know them, they say that I seem very familiar or nostalgic.
And what do you attribute that to? Do you think it's because are you kind of like a Ditto, like a Pokemon Ditto? Is that kind of what it is?
Maybe. I try to strive to be someone who inspires others. Maybe I don't accomplish that all the time. I'm not going to say that I do, but that is my intent. I like to be a positive influence regardless of who I run into.
Yeah, but you're not too disagreeable either. So if someone's doing something bad or stupid, unless it's really, really bad or stupid, you're not going to be the one that says, hey, don't do that.
No, I'm way too empathetic and understanding. Unless it's really fucking bad.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you would not let someone like beat their baby or something like that.
No.
Yeah, you would stop that. But
no,
like a 6 out of 10 level, you'd probably be like, man.
I'm not a pacifist either. I mean, I believe violence is sometimes a resolution.
Oh wow, that's a quote right there. I'm going to cut that out of the podcast and just put that quote on there. I believe violence is sometimes the resolution. Nick Foley.
Are you just going to leave that statement in itself?
Yeah.
But I genuinely do think that sometimes that's necessary, though.
What kind of violence are we talking about?
Well, for one, just to clarify, I'm not talking about something like sports violence.
Oh, so like fighting. You're not talking about UFC, football.
Yeah, sports violence.
You're talking about hurting somebody.
I actually like a lot of sports violence, by the way. I think those are great.
Yeah, me too. I love UFC. I love football. I love, as long as it's obviously consensual. You don't want to like take someone and throw them into a cage, like cockfighting or something like that. But
no.
An agreed upon fight is really, really fun to watch.
Yeah, but I think in the real world, since we were talking about opposing views or just beliefs in general, I think violence has come because of natural human nature, and that self-defense or protection of life and liberty makes some aspects of violence necessary.
And explain to me what you mean by violence. Hurting somebody on purpose?
Yeah.
In order to, like, at what level is it inexcusable? I'm going to take the backwards approach. Instead of saying in what cases is it excusable, I'm going to say when is it not excusable?
I think when it comes to inexcusable, probably if you're the one who started it and it's not needed. As in, someone doesn't need to be protected. No one is in any kind of danger.
Well, I mean, it's violence. That is danger.
Huh?
It's violence. That is danger.
Well, yes, but I mean, if someone is... Usually the guilty party is the person who starts it, for one.
Yeah, but that always goes down to that, oh, he started it. Like, who really did start it?
Yeah, and then we get to the other aspect, which is it necessary to protect something else that isn't physical? That's where the conversation gets a little
So
bit
you're
more
trying to take this
complicated.
into like Second Amendment.
I mean, I guess.
Nicky.
Maybe beyond U.S. law or something like that, where we're just speaking philosophically.
Let me give you a hypothetical, and then you tell me whether or not you think it's either justified or not justified. How about that?
Sure.
All right. You got guy catches his girlfriend cheating, so he beats the crap out of the dude, knocks him out. Guy has to go to a hospital for 2 days.
I think if it was immediate, like he just went in there and that guy's there, like cock out, didn't even have time to react. Mm-hmm. I think that would be pretty unfair. But if he went in there and then took a moment and he's like, "You got to go," and he might have said something like, "I'm still on second." Then I feel like it's a little justified. I feel like he asked him. He's like, "You need to leave my house." He's persistent on not.
Your measurement on justification is how much it pisses you off.
Is that wrong though? I feel like that's pretty right.
You're a dangerous man, Nick.
I mean, think about it like this: like,
if he runs for president, do not vote.
If you had a wife and you went in there,
yeah,
and then you're like, "You need to get out of my house that I own. You're in my bed.
Yeah,
come on my sheets."
Yeah,
and he says, he doesn't even say anything. He goes, balls out.
Yeah,
you wouldn't beat his ass?
Oh, of course I would.
Okay, then.
But I just think like.
And I think that's justified.
Well, the way that you said it, it's like it's justified up until a certain point, and the point is my threshold of getting pissed off. Well, obviously you'd be pissed off, but I don't know. There wasn't much like, I don't know. It was funny. Just the way you said it.
I feel like there's different forms of violence beyond.
Obviously, but beyond
Yeah.
just beating someone up.
Yeah, and that's what I mean is his this theoretical person, his show of smugness and objection, him knowing that he overstepped a bound and pissed you off, and not caring about it.
To me, that particular hypothetical situation is more than it just pissing me off. It would be more like, first of all, it is ruining, you said wife, so it'd be ruining a relationship, a legal relationship. There'd be a lot of money involved because there'd most likely be a divorce. There'd be loss of assets, particularly like whatever the wife would get from the divorce. That sort of thing. And then there's the trauma of it. It could permanently affect your romantic life moving forward. Yeah. There's a lot of things to it, right? So it's not just like, oh, I'm pissed off, I smash. You won't like me when I'm angry.
So you understand my point. Then.
I do, but I don't, because you said it's okay, or you shouldn't beat someone up if you catch them. But then if they're a dick to you about it, then you should. In that part, maybe.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's always specific situations. We're talking about something very, very complex. You know. I mean, this is why we have a court of law, after all.
Yeah.
Not everything can apply the same way.
I guess that would be a jury case.
Yeah. Sadly, that I think would probably be decided more by money, if anything.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works, so
it's complicated.
Just take your word for it.
Yeah. We'll push that one to the side.
Yeah.
I think my main point is
a lawyer lived in this house before me, but continue.
But I don't know. My main point was
Arby's is pretty cool.
Sometimes violence is necessary. Sometimes, but not always.
Only when you get pissed off. All right,
sometimes.
So Hulk smash.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
No one take that ideology.
Yeah.
And try to use it.
I don't think you would have to tell anyone that. I think everyone is already like, this guy's terrifying.
I mean, we live in America, so you never know.
I'll blame it on the country.
Yeah.
Blame it on George Washington.
Well, you brought up Second Amendment, so it feels fair.
No, I think you did. Subconsciously. You were leading us there.
They can rewind it back. They can see.
All right.
They can see who did it.
Well, let's do gift exchange.
Yeah. Happy late holidays to everybody. Tis the season, and I got you a little something. I hope you like this.
All right, let's see here. Well, I love it, Nick. I think I'm going to put it on right now.
Yeah.
So I'll show the camera. I'll put it up to this one. It's a Capsule Corp hat with what appears to be some manga strip. No, it's the capsules right here. This is dope, dude. Appreciate that. I got you something too, though. Hold on. Let me put this on.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and, see if it fits.
All right. Oh, I'm sure it'll fit. It's adjustable. Appreciate it, though. Let's see what we got going on here. Switch it up. Oh, it's like, hey. Oi. Oi, mate. I don't know why I'm talking. Oi, mate.
You know what's funny about that? I think that came from Britain.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oi, mate is Australian, isn't it? I don't know my stuff.
Well,
this definitely did not come from Britain.
I mean, it kind
made in China. Made in China.
Well, ordered from rather than made.
Oh, I see. So you ordered it from Britain.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man. This is dope. I got you something too.
I'm glad you like it. What'd you get me?
Open it and find out.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What the fuck?
You don't like it?
No, I like it. Is this a blood pressure reader?
No, it's not blood pressure.
It's a
Yeah, there you go. Blood oxygen meter.
Oh, okay.
It's because you keep getting COVID. So I just figured next time you get it, you might need that.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Actually, I'm going to need that back, though.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and let me get that.
If I get
you're
that
trying
back.
to... You can keep it. You can keep it.
No, I don't need this.
No, you can keep
Because
it.
I don't get COVID.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah. It's okay. How do I turn this fucking thing off?
But
I'm just going to give this back to you. And
you can if you want to.
your power button's not working on it. So
okay.
I think you might need to send it back, possibly.
I don't think the person that gave me this is around anymore, if you know what I'm saying.
My condolences.
No, I'm just kidding. I got it from like Target or some shit, or like CVS. Anyway, yeah. So I was thinking, let's spice up the second half of this podcast. Where
More than what we've already done?
yeah, I mean the first half I wouldn't call spicy. I would call it umami.
It was getting there. I mean, we tackled religion, and we tackled a little bit of
I wouldn't
law.
say we tackled it. I think we ran up to it, tickled its nipples, and ran away.
I think I proved at least like 85% of the people on the planet wrong.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess.
so.
I guess.
So we were getting a little
Maybe it was
spicy.
closer to like a purple nurple than a tickle.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So let's spice up the second half of this podcast where I'll be putting a hat of my choice on you.
Oh, okay.
Go.
I didn't look what you put, so it's just whatever it is.
It's just whatever.
Does it look good?
It looks pretty cool the way it's... You kind of look like a fucking gangster. That's dope. So yeah, what is your favorite Pokemon from the original 150?
Man, that's a tough one.
Is it?
A little bit. I think Mr. Mime.
Mr. Mime's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to go with either Haunter or Gengar.
That's a real common one. A lot of people feel that way.
First of all, they're purple. Second of all, they're scary and funny at the same time.
Yeah.
They're kind of goofy. So I would say I would go with that. Yeah.
I think they kind of also in their own lane too. Like if you didn't have those, what would you choose as a ghost type?
if I as a ghost type,
Yeah.
I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
From the original, they're the only ghosts.
So, and they're also really strong.
Yeah, I guess they are, aren't they? They are really strong if you know how to use them.
I mean, it's not that. Like,
I mean, you got to keep in mind we were kids, right?
well,
You're like,
I mean, I played, and all you got to do is sleep and Dream Eater.
yeah, but
That's fucking everything.
you could also get one-shotted. Like if someone had a level 100 Electabuzz or something like that, Thunder on them,
Yeah.
toast. And a lot of the times you would miss with sleep, I think, right? Sleep isn't, it's like 75% accuracy. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but you would miss. And so then you would get hit twice and die. So yeah, I mean, they're not unbeatable, but Gengar is purple.
I just
Cool.
think it's kind of like on the level of everyone liking like Earthquake.
You mean Fissure, the one-hit kill? Oh wait, maybe I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
No, I meant the
Sorry to assume.
No, it's okay. No, I meant the move Earthquake. Just for the.
Oh, okay.
The
But do you
normal-
remember Fissure?
A little bit.
Fissure, you only get to use it 5 times because it's you run out of what is it? Power
PP.
points. Yeah, PP. No, but seriously, it's a one-hit kill move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot like that.
No, I think it's the only move in that game where if you use it and it hits, you die.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think people do like that. But
What's your favorite Doritos flavor?
Doritos flavor?
Yeah.
I'm a vanilla kind of guy. Not
Vanilla
saying that I
Doritos
like
with a-
vanilla Doritos.
I don't know. I don't think
But-
that exists.
Yeah.
If it does, it's some weird flavor that they super special edition.
I wouldn't be a fan, I think.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay, yeah.
But, the originals.
The original?
Yeah.
There was the fiery habanero that was out for a while. That was really good.
That's better than the spicy. I think the spicy.
Oh, the spicy nacho,
Doritos.
spicy nacho cheese. Or,
Yeah. I think that one's a little over.
The fiery habanero is amazing.
Yeah, it actually has flavor.
And spice.
Well, spicy Doritos kind of seems like it's like less Doritos flavor,
Dude,
but hot.
You're right. Anytime I see spicy on anything packaged in the grocery store now, I'm just like, there's no way it's any good. Oh, speaking of that, I got that hot sauce. You want to try it real quick?
Okay.
Yeah. You want to entertain the crowd for a moment while I go get it?
I guess we'll be here talking for, a second.
Yeah, just talk to that camera right there.
Sure.
Talk to it, bro.
You good? You got that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Say something funny.
I have no idea what he meant by hot sauce or what he's getting, to be honest with you. Actually, all of this was unplanned. I have no idea what he's going for and getting. I think it was like a little purple bottle. I don't think it was legal.
You talking smack?
No.
Okay. Just curious. Move this back here. Because it's cool if you talk smack. I'm cool with that.
Oh yeah, that's fine. But I'm always honest. I wasn't talking smack. A lot.
You can talk smack if you want to. All right. So the last guest that was on the podcast left this hot sauce for us. Got it at, I think, a Korean grocery store. It's called Bulldog. I'll put it up to this camera. There we go. Bulldog. It says it is artificial spicy chicken flavor. That's all it says. Artificial chicken spicy flavor.
Is it actually Korean hot sauce?
I don't know. It came from a Korean grocery store. Could be, I don't know. It says Hochi. Samyang. That kind of sounds, it's South Korean, made in South Korea.
Okay.
So yeah, it is a Korean hot sauce.
I know we have a couple of Asian stores around here, but they're kind of got several things.
Yeah. Because, honestly, white person goes into an Asian store, they don't know whether or not it's Chinese, Japanese.
I got a Mongolian. I was trying to say I have an Asian supermarket near where I live, and some of the stuff they have is.
Why did you say Mongolian?
Well, because
what is wrong with you?
They actually have that Mongolian related products.
Like
and Korean. What?
Kind of smells like that spicy ramen flavor.
It's not gonna taste like that, is it?
I think so. I think it's gonna taste like spicy ramen. Yeah, because if it smells like it, it's probably gonna taste like it.
Yeah.
Let's get a. Do you gotta squeeze it or something? Oh! Why does it look like that?
What?
Here, I'm gonna do it. Here, grab it.
Looks like MSG.
Come on. Bruh. There we go.
It doesn't even look like you're pouring anything out of me.
Nothing's coming out. I'm trying to. I think I just landed on the carpet there. There we go. I don't know. They can't really see it, but.
Oh shit! It does smell like
Ramen.
It smells like the noodle dust in a packet.
Ugh.
Yeah, that tastes like raw oil. That's just oil.
It doesn't have pepper flavor at all. I would say that it's honestly the weirdest hot sauce I've ever had because it tastes like oil. Like you said, like. Trust me when I say the way I'm reacting right now, it's not that spicy. It just hits this weird. Oh wait, I feel it on my gums.
It's a little hot, but like, here's what shocked me. It went from a liquid into fucking powder.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know how to describe that. It just basically, at first it felt like I was putting drops of olive oil onto my tongue, warm olive oil, and then it had like an aromatic flavor or scent to it. I could smell like there was an aromatic sense of chicken. And then it sort of dissolved into my gums and my tongue. And now I just feel like my entire mouth is coated in this nasty texture that I want to rinse out of my mouth.
I feel like I inhaled raw habanero, but through like an oodles and noodles bag.
I would honestly say this is not that spicy, but the way that it hit me was weird.
It's not spicy. It's just
it was weird.
Uncomfortable.
I'm trying to fix this hair on my
I
face.
am a bit uncomfortable from that.
In what way?
I don't know, but I think this is why we have an FDA.
Oh, is it not FDA approved?
Funny.
Of course not. What am I talking about?
I was about to say, food is a little bit harder to regulate than drugs when it comes to the FDA.
You feel that?
I mean, it's not even that bad. It's just kind of stuck there, which is unique.
It expired.
Expired?
It expired in 2022.
Oh, man.
I'm not joking. It literally says it. Oh, wait. Wrong camera. Let's see if it'll adjust. Come on.
And
all right, it's not adjusting.
You said your last guest gave that to you?
Yeah.
You should get them back.
You want to talk about it? You want to talk about the last guest and the diss album?
Is it who I think it is?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we can talk about it if you want.
All right, so here's what's going on, folks. Nick Foley over here and Panda Vibrations and I are making an album. It's essentially a comedy diss album. I think that folks are really going to enjoy this if they are looking for kind of like a hip-hop album that has creative elements to it, and somewhat of a story to unfold. I think it's kind of, from what I've seen so far of what's been put out, it seems like it's going to be cryptic, but also entertaining.
From the little bit that I heard, it seems like it's going to be very cryptic.
Yeah. And just to clarify, they're making the songs separately. So he's heard some of Panda's songs, but he has not yet recorded anything yet. I think he's in the middle of writing some of the tracks. The beats I've already made and sent over to him for inspiration. But if you want to talk a little bit about maybe the direction you're going to go a little bit.
I feel like just like any other diss, personal stuff gets brought in, which I wasn't exactly expecting. It's a little goofy and incoherent, so I think I'm just gonna try to match that energy a little bit.
Okay, interesting. So you're gonna try to match that Panda Vibrations energy?
I don't want to say replicate it.
Yeah.
No, I think I want to ground it a bit. I've known Panda Vibrations music for a very long time. It's very obscure. It's very him or they. They've always kind of had that vibe in their music, so grounding it kind of feels like the best way to respond.
So are you going to take the approach of like a persona, or are you going to take on are you going to take it on as Nick Foley?
I mean, I feel like I am a persona. Like I'm many different personas. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the joke is the first album name, which I don't want to spoil or actually no, I think it's fine. Going in as King Cool, it's very exaggerative. It's stupid. It sounds like that it should be a possible character, but I think that's kind of what I'm doing, being a little cartoony and coming in as different aspects to, I guess, prove a point. Maybe. I think many people have called me different names, and even he or they, I'm sorry, are coming in with a name themselves. Panda Vibrations. Mm-hmm. But they've always had that one.
Mm. No, I think there's a few.
I think it's regularly at least Panda.
No.
No?
No.
No?
No, he's got multiple personalities for sure. We're talking Haba. We got...
yeah, but like Haba is part of Panda.
I don't know. I think it's a persona. And then there is Wisconsin person, homeless person. You know what I'm talking about, right?
A little
Those
bit.
Weird personalities that just pop out of nowhere.
I don't know. I just kind of always attributed that to the main one.
The main
because they always seem
character.
to kind of intertwine.
I see. So anyway, going on with King Cool. So it sounds like you have an idea in mind. Do you know what are your influences in terms of like the flow that you're going to use, the lyrics that you're going to slap them with?
I don't think I'd give that to one person. I have many different influences. I don't think I'm going to take it particularly to one person in general. If we're just talking about like people that I like, that kind of got me into hip hop in general. People from Daru the Damage, Big Pun, or more modern artists like Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher. That would probably explain a little bit of like the wordplay that I'm trying to work with.
Interesting. Oh, I see. Is that the kind of flow you're aiming towards too?
We'll see when it comes down on paper.
Oh, I see. So you haven't gotten that far yet.
A little bit.
Oh, okay.
I have an idea, but
yeah,
we're talking connecting from A to B.
So are you trying to decimate Panda, or are you just trying to send a message, or?
Well, I think that's the confusing part because it doesn't really feel like a diss.
The song or the album?
I don't think the album will.
Oh, okay.
This doesn't feel like an attack in any kind of way.
Right. It's not.
And I think that's the weird part that I wanted to, go on as well in my writing. Because you presented to me and you said it was diss. Mm-hmm. But I heard the songs and they're not aggressive or offensive. And if they are, they're a bit soft.
There was one, I will say, because I can talk about it since we deleted it, and the beat that we used for that recording, you're actually going to be using. So the beat that I made that Panda originally rapped over is that nasty beat I was talking about. I just call it nasty.wave. That one, he actually recorded an entire song on it, and it was like comical, just obscenities. None of it was like real, or none of it was personal. It was just like him cussing you out in like all the worst ways possible. And it was, none of it was actually like truly offensive. It was just hilariously like, oh, screw you, Nick, whatever. I'm not going to go into the lyrics because it's pretty adult, but it was pretty funny. So I think probably there might be one of those at some point, but if you do kind of rebuttal that, it would be kind of funny to see your approach to that, because obviously it's stupid, but that's the point. It's like the whole point of it is just to be. It's like shock humor to an extent. That type of diss. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I was going to tackle them in some funny ways. I've been messing around with some bars and ideas. Like one of the jokes was that like King Cool is your hyper exaggerated stereotypical gangster, but like on a super villain-esque level, like I own 70 billion guns kind of shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was some bars that I was going to tackle that he said too. I'm going to focus a lot on that.
Okay,
as
cool.
it feels appropriate.
So you're actually going to address some of the things that were said, because I was thinking that would be dope. The way that I want to produce this album is like, hey, he makes 2 songs, you listen to them, you get a feel for it, you can, you know, react to that, and then he can listen to your reaction to that.
Yeah.
And then go back and forth until we have an album.
I can give a little bit of example, so you can see.
Give Panda Vibes something.
So his first song, it's called Afternoon Delight.
Frugal.
Frugal, but he starts off with that coming in, and
Right.
I believe the file that you gave me, that's in parentheses.
Yes.
So I don't know what the reference is, whether it's just like a dessert or whatever, because we're talking about Panda.
Mm-hmm.
But I attribute it to Starland, which was an artist like, I don't know, like in the 60s. And they had a song called Afternoon Delight. And the main thing is, I think good afternoon is in the lyrics. I can't remember the exact thought process when I was writing it, but I remember I was going to start it as afternoon, which kind of feels like...
You're going to start the song this way?
Yeah. So afternoon, rather than good afternoon, is like a comical, formal disrespect, followed by I'm not Starland, I'm Earthbound.
Oh, I see. There's going to be a lot of depth to your responses.
Right. And it's mostly because I just want to tie in with all the different tones and stuff that he's throwing in there. Because, I mean, there's a bit of a, you know, the stereotypical perversion, you know, the references to milky tits, or, you know, pissing in something, and referencing those things is probably going to be a little common, just to break apart the words that have been said.
I see. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm excited to hear that. I think, hopefully, at least this is what I hope. You know, you're going to be writing over the next week or so. I hope to get you in the studio next weekend so that we can record something.
I hope, because I heard that song and
Did it light a fire?
In the wrong way. It was like soft taps.
It was like what?
It was like soft taps.
What do you mean? I don't know what that is.
Well, okay, like he says, I'm gonna make you feel real nice, and then Afternoon Delight, and I couldn't tell if he was talking about, you know, food or the song, but, you know, with the pretense and the song reference, it has like Starland song is a romantic song, kind of. So I'm more like, what energy are you sending my way? This is a diss. I thought we were coming in with aggression, violence. I thought someone was going to die in these recordings. So
Yeah. Well, someone did. Not literally, but there's a part in one of the songs
well,
where...
it's not funny.
Okay.
I don't know why you're laughing.
Okay, my bad. But yeah, so like, I think overall the project is going to be an entertaining, almost like partial satire, partial real,
Yeah.
and almost melancholy album that a lot of people are going to actually enjoy.
I was trying to think about it from the outside perspective, and it's going to be really weird.
I don't think so, because I think it's going to be one of those things where you're uncovering a story. It's not going to make 100% sense, and that's okay. Because
That's what I mean. They're gonna have a type of enjoyment out of it,
Exactly.
and perspective, and I don't know if it will ever be discovered, like the reasoning or the point that it's going to come across.
Yeah.
Or at least that's my point. Like, I want them to look into it, you know, without all the references, and just by itself be like, oh, okay, this slaps.
Yeah, exactly.
This eats.
This eats. All right. So that's the album. I guess I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to bring up on this podcast. Is there anything you want to talk about? Anything that's going on in your existence that you want to bring forth to the community?
I mean, I don't know. I thought we were going to talk a little bit about like past stuff that we've been through. Really,
Yeah, let's do that. So like, I remember probably our first project that we worked on formally together. I say formally, but like, yeah. The first thing that we worked on that was media based was probably the the Goofin series, or actually, I think that might have been it. And just to explain to folks, so the Goofin series was, we had the idea to do essentially like a comedy skit show, kind of, just a fictional comedy show that we were going to make with like a really cheap camera that I had, and we were just going to, like, no microphones. It was just really terrible production. It ended up like not really being funny, and the whole thing was just kind of deleted off the internet. If you saw it, if you know, you know. But I still want to do something like that because I think you have potential as a writer.
Would you tell me about the perception on that? 'Cause I think you told me recently, and I never even knew why it got deleted or why it was gone.
I can't remember what I said, but you can remind me.
I don't know. You told me it wasn't well received.
Oh yeah, no. Well, I remember now. Okay, so at the time I'm not going to go into the details really because I don't want to dox the situation, but there were a lot of people that watched it that were actually in the movie industry or in the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. And they were like friendly critiquing it, but it was really just coming off as like, oh, this was just really bad and messed up, and honestly, you just shouldn't have done this. But I think that the vision that I had for it was way beyond what I was actually capable of doing at the time. And so it just kind of bombed.
I mean, that's understandable. Like, we were younger, and I think the crutch of me getting the shit beat out of them was too much of the punchline.
No, I think that was...
No pun intended.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was supposed to be the punchline, but it was just... There wasn't enough surrounding it to make it the actual punchline. It just ended up being the entire joke, and it wasn't funny. But so
I mean, it's weird talking about this like out of context because it just kind of
it
doesn't sound like a comedy skit.
It wasn't. Although there was a scene where like you try to give, you go into like this warehouse and it's just these hood gangsters. And they're like, you know, it's like that scene. It's like a scene if you can imagine it, you know, someone finds a comedian on the streets and they just kidnap him, throw him in a van, and they just throw him into a warehouse and say, entertain these people.
Yeah, I try to go as like white, unfunny Seinfeld as possible.
Yeah,
for that.
And then I think we end up beating you up, or the gangsters end up beating you up with an accordion, mm-hmm. and then kicking you out. And then you get some advice that is supposed to be like metaphorical or inspirational, but instead you take it literally, and that was supposed to be the joke, but it was just delivered terribly. And then
it was funny, but I also feel like it was like outstretched a little too long. Yeah, because the joke was like this random producer is like, if you want to get through this if you want to,
you know what, actually don't give the joke away. Let's actually execute it properly one day.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Because
it's actually a pretty funny premise. So the other thing that we worked on was Moonwash. I remember that's my artist persona. Like, I make music under the name Moonwash, and the very first song that was ever uploaded under the Moonwash name, you were featured on it. Your vocals are on there. You're singing with me. I think we were singing about not having enough money to pay our phone bills. Yeah. So we're just gonna let it get turned off and not care about the world. But I also remember you came up with the name Moonwash. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Do you remember that? Tell me about that.
I don't remember the exact inspiration that brought it up, but I don't know. I guess I was just thinking about the moon or something. I think you showed me.
No. So I was dropping you back off at your house, and I was like, I'm trying to think of a name. We had already made that song. I was dropping you off after we had made the song, and we stopped at that Goo Goo Car Wash, and I was just like, we need to think of a name for my artist persona. And you were like, you looked up at the sign of the Goo Goo Car Wash and you saw the moon's reflection on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were like, Moonwash. Yeah. And that was dope. So I kept it.
Yeah, I'm pretty okay at naming conventions, I guess.
I guess so.
But I mean, I guess that's kind of how it always happens. Where I'm not actually a musician myself, but it always seems like, you know, even though I don't have like a something that I regularly do, I always end up in people's projects in some kind of way.
Yeah, it's because like I said, you're kind of like a Ditto, Pokemon Ditto, where it's like whatever's going on at the time, you kind of just fit on in and you just do that. Like and don't take this the wrong way.
No.
Like if you go to a party, there's certain types of people that are going to be the standout. They're going to be the one that's like bringing the energy. They're the ones that's like doing the crazy thing that everyone is now doing. You're like, if you go to a party, you're more of the type of person who is going to be interesting in whatever's going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, if everyone's sitting around a table talking, sipping on drinks or whatever, you're going to be having some sort of in-depth conversation, and it's probably going to dwindle to where it's just like you and one other person, and everyone else is going to go do whatever they're going to do at the party, and you like hooked someone in, and now you're having like a deep conversation with somebody.
I do it all the time.
I know.
And it actually shocks me how many people I know in this town because of it.
There's been times where we've actually gone to parties and like it starts off like that where we're all talking and hanging out, and then you kind of start talking to someone or whatever, and then we all go do something, and then the party's over and I'm like, all right, I got to go find Nick, and you're just talking to the same person, and it's like, all right, it was good meeting you, you know, whatever, you guys are like best friends now, and then we leave and it's like I partied and you made a whole new like best friend.
And it's weird. I never like Stockholm syndrome anyone. It's not like when you meet somebody and they just have you perma-locked in this conversation you don't want to have with anybody. I like to think that everyone I've talked to, they, you know, actually enjoyed it and want to.
Well, yeah, of course. You don't have to feel like, I guess, paranoid that that's the case. I don't think that.
I used to, though.
Oh, I see. Interesting. I mean, there's always ways to kind of have gauge a litmus test. I guess that's a way to say it, of whether or not that's happening in the moment, that you could probably try to employ next time.
I think it was just more paranoia than anything else. I think I have a decent read on like how people are in the moment. Yeah. But I'm always. How
am I feeling?
How are you feeling?
Yeah.
I think you're in podcast mode.
Explain that.
I think you're in Zach Wilson mode.
What does that mean?
I don't know what specifics you might be looking for.
Okay. Well, that was you really convinced me. You really convinced me, Nick. Like, honestly, I'm just wow.
Well, let me put it this way. I think you've been convinced for like the last 10 years. And that's why we're here talking right now.
Wow. Pulled that one.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I guess we're probably we're gonna end this in a minute. We're gonna go probably hit up a park, hang out with another buddy, have a fire. It's kind of cold out. Fire would be perfect.
Yeah.
And just chill, you know. But before that, because most people what I have them do is some sort of live performance. Typically, you know, artists are on here. They'll perform a song or maybe a cover. Sometimes a DJ set. And we're going to get the video games back, folks. That's another piece of this podcast is we'll usually end it with like 30 minutes of just gaming.
I'm a big video game fan.
I know. And we'll have to have you back on. I just don't have that set up right now. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Well, hey, let's the next time I come on, let's just talk about games.
Talk about?
Yeah, because I think I have a pretty good amount of knowledge.
I don't though, so it'd be really weird. But we can try.
I think you have a decent amount.
Oh, sure.
I think you like really, you know, have an in-depth on like, I don't know, the Final Fantasy series or something else. I think you have more than you're willing to admit right now.
It's not that I'm willing to admit. It's just like I really don't play games that much. And the time that I did play games, I only had a few because I was poor and it was before the internet where you could just download games. So I had like Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy VII, a couple more that I can't think of off the top of my head that I got really into when I was younger. But as time has gone on, I've kind of just played sequels of those games, and occasionally, like I play Rocket League right now. I think that's a fun competitive game that's like super technical and very difficult to get good at.
I mean, in my opinion, if you're just going to play games, I think, like, for example, those two series is all you really need.
It can be, yeah. I mean, I kind of get tired of Final Fantasy, though.
Yeah.
Some of them are not that good. Like, I just played Final Fantasy 15, and while I love the story... I think it's 15, right? Yeah. While I love the story, it just felt like a cheap... ripoff of like the Witcher series. And
What was 15 again? Was that the car ride one?
no, I think I might be thinking of the wrong one. I think I'm talking about 16. I don't know. It's the one where it's in medieval.
The medieval one. Yeah, that's 16.
Okay, yeah. So 16. It just feels like a cheap ripoff of The Witcher.
15 is when like a group of
I've
like
watched
early mid 2000s scene kids go on a car ride somewhere.
Yeah, and they're like rebellious against his dad.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, it just seemed kind of lame. But what I'm gonna have you do, and just to finish that off, we'll have you back on and we'll play some video games and stuff. Yeah, but this is more of an introduction, I think. But yeah, so what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to put you on the spot, and I'm going to basically have you tell a story. It's going to be about 3 to 5 minutes long, right off the top of your head, that's entirely fictional. You're going to get into it, you're going to be animated, and you're going to talk directly to this camera right here. All right, go.
That's really on the spot, though, man.
Yep, go for it.
Okay. I mean, sure, whatever.
Now, make sure you're about this close to the microphone.
Yeah, no. I gotcha.
Like this close. Like almost to where your mustache is touching it. Yeah.
This is eating up most of the segment.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Telling a story is pretty difficult.
Don't talk to me. Talk to the camera.
I mean, you're kind of both the same in my perspective.
Come on, bro. You got this. Do you want me to just give you like a premise and then you go?
Yeah, sure. Give me a premise.
47-year-old man, lonely, goes to a gas station to get a Hershey's bar, but as he walks in, the place is getting robbed. Now, he's not some sort of assassin. He's not, ex-military, and he's not really in that great of shape, but he's really clever.
He's really clever.
Go.
Okay, so you got
you got to get up close to the mic.
You got Harold Danford, right? He's just normal, typical, middle-aged, everyday man, and he goes into a 7-Eleven. Normal day, nothing special going on. We're gonna come here, we're gonna get a candy bar, and then we're going to leave. Simple, plain as day. 18 people come in with ski masks through the front door. And Harold is very confused about this. Not because the place is being robbed, because everywhere it kind of gets robbed. But this is like a ludicrous amount of people involved in this. You have 18 people like trying to rob this store. So there's literally no way of him getting out of here. Even calling the cops is going to be hard because you've got more people than the fucking store has corners. So he's got his candy bar, and he's holding on to it, and he's kind of waiting for them to go through the process, which is all of them fighting over which one is going to talk to the cashier to open up the register. And in the middle of it, while he's sitting there, his stomach growls, and one of the guys comes up. And this dude's pissed. He's got the tactical issue AR-15 Hydra X scope sight on top, ski masked up, probably wearing a very authentic, not $15 jacket, ready to do this heist. And he kind of kneels down and bends over to him. And then he hands him another candy bar, and he says, "Eat a Snickers, the same while you're hungry." And Henry forgot that he went to the gas station with a ski mask himself.
And so that's the twist?
Yeah, that's the twist. He was also a robber. He just forgot.
So he's a robber with dementia.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. Cool, bro. But yeah, that was fun. Had a good time on the podcast. Now we're gonna go chill.
Yeah, this was great. I love doing this.
Yeah, I think like I'm warming up into the process a little more.
This was my first pod. I've had a couple people ask me to be on a podcast, but this is the first one I've officially been on.
Oh, and you heard it, folks. First time Nick's been on a podcast right here on Free Parking Podcast.
Yeah. So My second time will probably also be here, so if you're looking forward to that, I'd stay tuned to see when that happens.
Now, let's end this with some random humming of like random notes into the microphone. Dootin' dootin' doo down doot dootin' doo. Doot dootin' doo down doot dootin' doo. Doot dootin' doo down dootin' dootin' doo. Boot slappin' black. Boot slappin' blue dash. Boot slappin' black. Ticky ticky tembo. No saw Rambo. Chaddy body bambo. Pip pip pambo.
The credits
Ticky
are
ticky
currently
dang.
rolling.
What? Ticky ticky what? Taka taka hey. Ha 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 hey. Ho ho ha 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 hey. Ho ho. And bring it brown now. Give me some lyrics, man. Charlie. Give me some lyrics.
Son. This one isn't done in English. This one is done in Spanish. I switch it to Taiwanese. I go to Cantonese, but I never pleased on these. Did you know that spicy chips was powdered on top? The stop, I can't even get to drop the top. The drop top moves when the Bengaling dash is best vested with bulletproof vest.
Welcome to the club, son. You've joined the club. Anyway, it's been fun, bro.
It has. Can't wait to see you again on Free Parking, man.